Welcome to episode 73 of the Unstoppable Podcast. My name is Dan J. Gregory, and I am committed to hunting down the secrets of business mastery and human performance. My goal for the Unstoppable Podcast is to share insights from some of the most successful entrepreneurs, inspiring thought leaders, world-class athletes, and prominent celebrities to help you to become unstoppable in business and life. Each week I'll be bringing you a new interview with an inspiring person and sharing my own results as I pursue the answers to the question, how can I create the ultimate edge in my business, make a significant impact, and live an extraordinary life? Hello and welcome to episode 73 of the Unstoppable Podcast. This episode is all about how to eliminate your bad habits. Speaking of which, it's currently 9:40 p.m. on Monday the 17th of October. This is the day of my podcast being released and it's 20 to 10. I'm normally in bed by quarter to 10 and I'm still going. This is an example of a bad habit that I need to change. These Monday episodes I record on the day of release. It's far too stressful. And it's nearly the end of the day and I'm still going. It's been a really busy day. I've been prepping for my Unstoppable Entrepreneur program, which I'm running here in my city in Bristol. It will be coming out again online, so watch this space if you want to take part in the 12-week boot camp. It's actually going to be stripped back to 8 for even more intensity. So yes, one of the bad habits I've been looking to eliminate is this late recording of the show. And you can already hear the huskiness in my voice, which is not a good sign. It's been a busy day, but a productive one. So, before we jump into today's show, I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the episodes that you've may have not have seen yet or heard yet in the last couple of weeks. So, last Thursday, I interviewed Tim Matthews on how to eliminate the unconscious brakes that hold you back from unleashing your true power. Tim is the founder of The Powerful Man, a good friend of mine. In fact, one of the very first people I even told about the Unstoppable Podcast, and really helped me shape some of the ideas for the show. So, be sure to listen to episode number 72. But then before that, last Monday, I recorded a show called Bulletproof Your Habits, and that was all about empowering habits. How do you add in new habits that are going to support you in pursuit of your goals, your business, your ideal life? So, whilst I did speak last week about building new positive habits, today we're going to focus on how to break bad habits and stick to just the good ones instead. Now, what is a habit? A habit is just something that each of us have a tendency to do regularly. This can be good or bad. However, each small habit becomes part of our overall approach to life, and it can determine very highly the levels of success that we're going to have. So changing our life is often a matter of simply adjusting our habits one small step at a time. However, breaking bad habits can be a little more challenging than starting new ones, but it's sometimes a necessary step in order to reach our highest potential and create our ideal life. So, why is it important to break bad habits? Bad habits interrupt our life and can prevent us from accomplishing our goals. They can screw with our health, they can screw with our voice, as you can hear. So they can screw with us both mentally and physically. They can waste your time and energy, and they will mess up your relationships if you don't get them handled. So why do we still do them? And most importantly, is there anything that we can do about it? So, I want to share a story of some of my own bad habits. No one is perfect. This show, I've been incredibly vulnerable and sharing some of my own weakest moments, my darkest days, and now I'm sharing some of my bad habits. So I have a tendency to drink far too many coffees in the day. I am a coffee aficionado. I do love a good coffee, and I do go through times where I'll completely eliminate it to avoid that caffeine effect. But then it will come back, I'll go on holiday, I'll have a nice coffee, and then day by day I drink more and more. So coffee is an area that I want to get handled. I don't want to eliminate it. I want to strip it back to one a day and have a nice one at the weekend. Alcohol, during my 20s, alcohol was a serious issue. I was living for the weekends. My life is so different. If you could see me now, if you don't know me personally and you're new to my material, if you could have seen me in my mid-20s, you wouldn't recognize me. I was a different guy. But I've got my alcohol in check. Right now, like I said, it's the 17th of October. I haven't drunk a drop since the beginning of the month. I am, as part of my kind of overall habits overhaul, decided to eliminate alcohol. I don't know how long for. It's my birthday coming up in just over a month. There's a big party arranged. My partner Lizzie's been buying all the all the supplies for the party. So the house is full of temptation. I'm not a big drinker, though. I do enjoy a good glass of whiskey and a good glass of red wine and the occasional glass of Prosecco or champagne. I'm not a big drinker anymore, but, over the summer we had a lot of weddings and, one thing led to another and I ended up drinking more than I expected. So alcohol is always on the list. Checking social media. Oh, goodness me. I mean, who doesn't have the problem with this? But it's a serious productivity problem. And it's also such a distraction. First thing in the morning, I for a long time I had a really solid morning routine, and it was clockwork. I'd wake up and boom, boom, boom. It was literally habitual. And I didn't realize the reasons why it was working so successfully at the time. I just thought, I developed a really solid routine, which I eventually got bored of because it became too process driven. And that's a whole different conversation in terms of keeping things fresh. And, one of my clients I coached last week on how to build an empowering morning routine. However, it was habitual, but then I broke the habit. So I've fallen into bad habits. Wake up, pick up the phone, click the email button, click the Facebook button, click the Twitter button, notification, scroll. First thing in the morning, think about it. When you first wake up, your brain is primed. Like this haze is passing. You want to put good stuff in your brain. Don't put the freaking Facebook timeline in your head. This is me raging by myself. I'm not judging, by the way. This is me raging at me because I think it's such a tedious thing to do. So social media, first thing in the morning, it's got to go. And then throughout the day, I do, when I'm in momentum, when I'm on my game, social media, I'm pretty good at keeping it in check. Today I barely looked at it. I only look at it once in a while to update based upon my own updates. But then there are times when I fall into bad habits and I'll just mindlessly scroll. And time goes by when you're doing that. But what's a worse habit for me when it comes to the web is browsing blogs, reading materials, watching YouTube videos. I'm not talking cat videos here. I'm a man who studies life and business. But I can get immersed in a subject. Even preparing for this episode today. When it comes to sharing content with you, I want to bring you the best research, the best materials. So I can just go down that complete rabbit hole of websites, and then I'll see something interesting, I'll click on it and I'll go down a different tangent. My thirst for knowledge is unbelievable, and keeping that in check. So a habit of browsing the web, there's many more. There's plenty of others, but this, for me, this month is all about overhauling some of these bad habits and installing new good habits. I've got my morning routine back in full swing. I'm crushing it. I'll do an episode on that in the next few weeks because it's really, really powerful. But it's now about eliminating the bad habits. So what I want you to do before we move any further, I want you to just consciously now think about some of the bad habits that you have that you would like to eliminate. Just have that in mind. And if you aren't sure what they are, think about simple things: biting your nails, smoking, eating junk food. Ask your partner, ask your friends, what are your bad habits? Are you like me recording your podcast at 9:45 at night? What are your bad habits? So let's move on now to talk about what causes bad habits. And it's time for some real talk now. Most of our bad habits are caused by two things: stress and boredom. Everything from biting your nails to drinking a glass of wine every night to wasting countless hours scrolling social media are a simple response to stress and boredom. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can teach yourself new and healthier ways to deal with stress and boredom to replace these bad habits. Of course, sometimes stress or boredom on the surface is actually caused by much deeper issues. And these deeper issues can be tough to think about. But if you're serious about making changes in your life, then you have to be radically honest with yourself and get to the core of the problem to find the truth. Is there something deeper? Is there a fear? Is there an event? Is there a limiting thought pattern? What is it that's causing you to hold on to something that's bad for you? What's going on beneath the surface? People smoke. I look at people who smoke, and again, I'm not judging. If you smoke and you want to eliminate the habit, then listen to this episode closely. It's going to help you. If you smoke and you enjoy it and that's your thing, fine. Do what you want to do. It's not for me. But when I see some people smoke, I really see it's almost like they're sucking the stress. It's like you can see the stress in their face and they're sucking it into their body. So what is it? What's causing that stress that you need to mask it with smoking? This is about going deep. What is it? What is it that's causing you to have these bad habits to overcome stress or boredom? Take a look at what's causing the stress. The bad habits are often a symptom of the cause. So find the cause. Go for the cause. If you just focus on the symptoms, you're just masking the problem. So what is it that's causing the stress in your life? What's causing you to be bored? I had a really interesting conversation last week about entrepreneurial personality types and how it relates to human emotion. The emotions of an entrepreneur are quite extreme. Even to the point, I question the value of happiness. This is crazy talk. But if you're an entrepreneur, maybe you can relate to me on this. Happiness doesn't seem like a strong enough emotion. We want the hit. We want excitement. We want exhilaration. Happiness doesn't cut it. It's crazy. But this is all about overcoming boredom and eliminating stress. Bad habits are often a sign of a deeper need that you need to address. So before we go any further, I've asked you to think about your bad habits. Hold those in mind, but just take a moment right now as you're listening to this, my voice in your ears. Just think about what are the underlying causes of stress in your life right now and what is causing boredom and what can you do about it? What can you do about it? I'm going to help you with some of the symptom stuff today when we go into the bad habits. This for me, there are some deeper things for me when it comes to business right now. The fact that I'm running late today, that this is a symptom of a cause. The cause is I haven't got my podcast schedule organized yet. So the very fact that I have this bad habit of recording late on a Monday is not the problem. The problem is I haven't got myself organized. So think about the deeper problem. So now that we've identified our bad habits and we've thought about some of the causes and the potential underlying reasons, the next question is how do we eliminate these bad habits? Now, according to psychology professor Susan Krauss-Whitborn, who says sometimes a habit can be broken quickly. And she says, in extreme cases, the habit can be broken instantly, such if you happen to become violently ill when you inhale a cigarette or nearly get hit by a bus whilst texting and walking. I probably shouldn't laugh at that. But in most cases, it's going to take longer than that. And just like starting new habits, you have to be prepared to go the long haul. In fact, that smoking example is an interesting one. I helped a friend overcome his smoking addiction several years back. I took him for a really, really, really intense workout. This guy hadn't worked out for a long time. He used to be a really fit guy. And we put him through my friend and I, we put him through his paces. Really, we got him heaving. He was out of breath. And the moment we finished the workout, we took him outside and we got him to slide up a cigarette and put it in his mouth. He was instantly sick. And instantly he was like, that's it, I'm out. I'm not smoking again. And he went into that with the intention, not that workout, but that week that we were together, with the intention of quitting smoking. We were at a health conference that week and he wanted to quit. So we did this workout process and got him to smoke instantly. We said, light another one. You light another one just after you've been sick, put that in your mouth. You ain't going to want to smoke again. We got back to the hotel room and we chucked him his cigarettes. He says, get those things away from me. We said, you do what you like with them. He said, I'm going to tear them up. And he tore them up. He flushed them. He was done. We made him so sick that he associated feeling sick and horrific with smoking. That's how you break someone's pattern when it comes to making a change. So you can do that. You can use these instant techniques to shift bad habits. But here's the thing. Long-term habits are literally entrenched at the neural level. So they're very powerful determinants of our behavior. But the good news is that people are nearly always capable of doing something else when they're made aware of the habit and they're sufficiently motivated to change. For that guy I was just talking about just now, my friend Kevin, hello Kevin, if you're listening, he has a young kid and he's got another one on the way. So he wants to be a good positive role model for his child. Having that compelling why, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the first step is to commit to making the change. So commit, write it down. Winston Churchill once said, plans are useless, planning is invaluable. Writing out any commitments you make will give you clarity both to what you desire and how you intend to do it. And make the commitment to do this for at least a month. They've done studies, we talked about it in the previous episode about how long it takes to build a habit. It's probably going to take you longer than a month. But 30 days, it will get you started. Less than that, and the new alternative might not be hardwired into your brain. So the more time you can allocate, the more successful you're going to be on this. But commit to at least a month. It's not about the duration, it's about making the commitment. So what we're going to do next is actually reverse engineer the new habit process that I shared with you last week in the episode on installing new habits. And the first part, as before, is a 3-step process to create the foundation for breaking your old habit and replacing it with a new one. So number 1 is choose your one thing. Choose your one thing. I listed a stack of bad habits, but you got to start small. Changing habits isn't a matter of willpower, but patience and strategy. So don't expect to overhaul your diet, your exercise, your drinking, your social media patterns all in a day. Tackle one habit at a time. Choose one thing and make it specific. Make it measurable. What is the specific routine, behavior, or action that you want to eliminate as a habit? Number 2, find your why. Breaking a habit has to be important enough to you that you will follow through with eliminating it. So make sure it's what you really want to eliminate and not what you feel that you should do or what someone else is asking you to do. It has to be important to you. To successfully break a habit, you need to think of your strongest motivational forces, the things that are going to drive you along. So in order to help you do that, it's time to bring back the twin forces of pain and pleasure. Number 1, know the pain. Feel what will happen to you if you do not make a change. Feel what will happen to you if you don't make a change now. What will it cost you if you fail to make a change? How will your life deteriorate if you stay as you are? Use your imagination to get a picture of how you'll suffer if you do nothing to change. Feel the pain of staying as you are right now. Now, 2, look forward. Know the benefits. Get clear in your mind what the benefits are of making a change. If making a change rationally seems good, but it doesn't feel good, it won't stick. Emotions have more power than many of us can ever realize. What are all the things that you stand to gain by breaking this habit? How will your life be improved? How will your life improve in every single area by making this change and breaking this habit? Write out your reasons for breaking this habit. In the last episode, I talked about writing 200 reasons for starting a new habit. I ask you to go, if you haven't done that, go and do that exercise and add some more to break this habit. Do it for every single habit you want to install and every single habit you want to break. Write out your reasons and write as many as possible. Number 3, go public. This is about choosing your commitment strategy. And I strongly encourage you to buddy up. Join forces with somebody. Get an accountability buddy. Share the goal publicly. You need as much support as you can to make this happen. Don't try and do it alone. Pair up with someone and quit your bad habits together. The 2 of you can hold each other accountable and celebrate your victories together. Knowing that somebody else expects you to do something better is a powerful motivator. You won't want to let them down and you won't want to let yourself down. Now, as before, these are the 3 foundational actions that you need to take to create habit change. Do not avoid these 3 steps that we've just been through. Choose your one thing, find your why, and go public. Find your commitment strategy. Now we're going to move into the 3 R's of habit change with some slight changes. So last time when we were building a new habit, we called it a reminder. The first R was a reminder. Now, we don't really want to be reminded of the things that cause us to do bad habits. So in this case, we look at the reasons. It's the same concept. So habits are triggered by a particular cue, situation, or event. And once they're formed, they're very hard to break. Therefore, to break the habit, we need to learn to recognize the trigger for your bad habit. And we need to wire a new healthy or positive habit to override that bad habit trigger. So the first step is to figure out when and why you engage in your bad habits. Whether it's biting your nails, pouring a glass of wine in the evening, reaching for that second coffee, procrastinating, or any other bad habit. And often we repeat bad habits without even realizing we're doing them. The first step is to find that trigger. And Stephen Jaffe, a psychiatrist in a private practice from New York, as part of my research, I found that she said, if you can notice when you are doing it and under what circumstances and what feelings are attached to it, you might be able to figure out why you're doing it and be able to make a change. So breaking your bad habit can be achieved by carefully paying attention to one of these 4 cues. What, where, when, and why your habit is triggered. It's this newfound awareness of the trigger that will show you how to actually make the change. When does your bad habit actually happen? How many times do you do it each day? Where are you? Who are you with? What triggers the behavior and causes it to start? Simply tracking these issues will make you more aware of the behavior and set you up for change. Once you're aware of the triggers, make a list of all the triggers that cause you to engage in your bad habits and cut out as many of the triggers as possible. If you smoke when you drink, then don't go to the bar. If you eat chocolate when it's in the house, then throw it all away. If the first thing you do when you wake up is scroll social media, then go to bed with your phone on flight mode so you can't access the internet first thing. Make it easy for yourself. Avoid the things that cause these bad habits. Step 1 is to identify and eliminate as many triggers as possible. And we'll talk about what to do with the remaining triggers next. Step 2. In the last episode, again, the second R was routine. Today we're not looking at the routine, which was the behavior itself, the action you take. That was all about installing new behaviors. Today we're looking at replacing the behaviors. The second R this time is replace. You don't eliminate a bad habit, you replace it. All of the habits you have right now, good or bad, are in your life for a reason. In some way, these behaviors provide a benefit to you, even if they are bad for you in other ways. Sometimes the perceived benefit is biological, like it is with alcohol or smoking. Sometimes it's emotional, like when you stay in a relationship that's bad for you, for example. And in many cases, your bad habit is a simple way to cope with stress or boredom. For example, biting your nails, tapping your feet, clenching your jaw. And the same concept applies to these smaller bad habits as well. Scrolling the social media in the morning, checking your email. These things might help you feel more connected. You're looking at social media, seeing other people's lives. Yet at the same time, you're looking at all these social feeds. It's destroying your productivity. It's dividing your attention. And it's overwhelming you with stress. And it's causing you to compare yourself with other people. But then it prevents you from feeling like you're missing out. So you do it again. You do it again. You do it again. It's an addiction. In other words, bad habits address certain needs in your life. And for that reason, it's better to replace your bad habits with a new, healthier behavior that addresses the same need rather than simply trying to cut out your old habits. If you expect yourself to simply cut out bad habits without replacing them, then you'll have certain needs go unmet, and it's hard to stick to a routine of just don't do it for very long. This is a powerful point. And this is also the reason why smokers tend to put on weight, because they turn to food to meet the need that was previously being met by cigarettes. It's back to the point about stress or boredom. What's the real underlying cause? But you need to be choosing a healthy habit to replace a bad habit. There's nothing wrong with eating. It's just there is a way of eating healthily. So if you want to replace a habit of eating, then go healthy. Now, while some triggers can be eliminated, which will help you to interrupt a bad habit, you will need to use your triggers to embed a new positive habit that provides a similar benefit by mindfully repeating a new desired behavior or a new action or a new thought process instead. So similar to embedding a new habit, you must repeat this process over and over and over again until the new habit is wired to the trigger, and it will eventually mask the old habit. So you'll, by default, when the trigger kicks in, you go for the positive habit instead of the bad habit. So replacing the bad with the good. So for example, if you smoke when you get stressed, it's a bad plan to just simply stop smoking. How many times do you hear people just stopping smoking and it never happens? Instead, you should come up with a different way to deal with the stress and insert that new behavior instead of having a cigarette. It could be something as simple as grabbing a glass of cold water or some kind of breathing exercises. You need to replace the habit with a new positive habit. So choose a substitute for your bad habit. You need to have a plan ahead. You need to think ahead in terms of how you're going to respond to the situation. This is important because you are going to face the trigger for stress or boredom. It's going to prompt you to do your bad habit. So you need to think ahead. You need to plan ahead. So once you've chosen your new empowering habit, if you're a smoker, for example, be ready. Be ready when you get that urge. What are you going to do when you get the urge to smoke? What are you going to do if you're a social media addict? What are you going to do when Facebook is calling you to procrastinate? Whatever it is and whatever you're dealing with, you need to have a plan for what you'll do instead of your bad habit. This is about installing that new habit and embedding it consciously. It's going to take practice. So to summarize, think of a replacement behavior for the old habit, but make sure it's a positive one and be patient. The longer you've had a habit, the harder it's going to be wired and the harder it's going to be get rid of it. But here's a quick tip before we move on to the final part. Environment. What do I mean by environment? Right now, your environment makes your habit easier and it makes your bad habits easier and your good habits harder. So if you change your environment, you can change the outcome. So the environment could be the people you hang around with. It could be the places you go. Get out of the hazard zones, the situations that can trigger your old habit. Remove junk food from your house. Don't go to the bar if you're trying to eliminate alcohol. Don't go to the places where you might fall into bad habits. This isn't always possible, but just do the things that will help you to avoid temptation. And finally, surround yourself with people who live the way you want to live. It doesn't mean you need to ditch your old friends, but don't underestimate the power of finding some new ones. If you want a healthier lifestyle, go hang around with healthy people. When I first wanted to eliminate booze in my 20s, I stopped hanging out with those who simply live for the weekend, and I started hanging out with gym addicts instead. My life changed so quick. So change who you associate with, and you'll change your life. As Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Think about that as you go into the next part. So step 3. Step 3 in the previous episode was reward. This is the benefit you give yourself from doing the behavior. We're not rewarding the bad behavior. We're rewarding the change. We're rewarding the progress. We're rewarding every single step that you take to eliminate that bad behavior. And we're rewarding the conditioning of that new behavior. We want to continue doing the things that's going to make us feel good in an empowering way. This is about linking massive pleasure to the new habit that we've replaced. So we're more likely to do it again and again and again. So we want to celebrate every single day that we successfully avoid our bad habits and celebrate the new trigger, the new action. And given that an action needs to be repeated consistently for it to become a habit, it's even more important that you reward yourself each time that you practice the new habits and eliminate the old ones. I believe it's important to celebrate every single victory. So go ahead and celebrate eliminating your old habits. Use it as your opportunity for a daily victory. Become the type of person who always sticks to the new habits. Habits are at the core of peak performance. We talked about this before. You can build up to the level of performance that you want once the new behavior becomes consistent. To do this, visualize yourself succeeding. See it as already done. See yourself throwing away the cigarettes or buying the healthy food instead. See yourself waking up early. Whatever the bad habit is that you're looking to break, visualize yourself crushing it. See yourself smiling and celebrating and enjoying your success. See yourself building a new identity. However, I say this about building a new identity. I always talk about, becoming the kind of person you want to be. That is massively important. But in this case, here's the thing. You just need to bring parts of the old you back to the surface. The parts, the long forgotten parts of you. So often we think that to break our bad habits, we need to become an entirely new person. However, the truth is, you already have it in you to be someone without your bad habits. We're not born with bad habits. At least, some may be genetically predisposed. But, we weren't born as smokers. We weren't born as heavy drinkers. We weren't born with Facebook, a phone in our hand. In fact, it's very unlikely you had any of these bad habits all of your life. You don't need to quit smoking. You just need to return to being the non-smoker version of you. You don't need to transform into a healthy person. You just need to return to being the healthy version of you. Even if it was years ago, you have already lived without these bad habits, which means you can almost definitely do it again. So most of us have lived without social media, so think about to the good old days before your phone buzzed every 2 seconds. And here's a final tip for you. Plan for your mistakes. When you screw up, it does not make you a bad person. It makes you human. Welcome to the club. So rather than beating yourself up over a mistake, plan for it. We all get off track. What separates top performers from everyone else is that they get back on track very, very quickly. They get knocked down, they get back up. So pick up where you left off. Remind yourself why you made the decision to end this habit and get back in the game. Now, that's it for today. You can hear my voice is almost gone. It's way past 10 o'clock now. I'm overdue my sleep. This is bad habit I'm going to break. So when I come to you next week, I'll tell you the day. You hold me accountable. I ask you, the Unstoppable Tribe, to hold me accountable to this one. When I speak to you on next Monday, I'll tell you the day that the episode was recorded. And it better not be next Monday. And it certainly better not be tomorrow, Monday evening. So that's it we've got for this week. But before you go, I just want to tell you a little bit about what's coming up. This Thursday, great episode. I interviewed a fantastic guest called Barry Tesler, and she is going to be talking about money mindset and how to create new financial habits to help you to improve your financial health. It's a mind-blowing episode. I'm really, really centered right now on growing financial wealth and installing the habits and mindsets required to really master the financial security, to really create financial independence. So if that's a goal for you as well, stay tuned, because Thursday's the first part of a 3-part series. I'm bringing 3 different guests to talk about this important issue of financial health. And if you haven't heard it already, a few weeks back, I did an episode on money shame. I really encourage you to listen to that. I bared myself bare. I really let my guard down on that one. I told about my own experience of money, my own experience of debt, and how I emotionally have dealt with debt, and how I'm making the change. And I'll be sharing even more about that publicly over the next few weeks and months. I'm still carrying some debt, and it's that's the habit I'm looking to break. I'm not going into next year. I'm not going into 2017 with any debt. Mark my words. So, don't miss out on Thursday's episode. Become a subscriber to the Unstoppable podcast. Whatever platform you're listening to on, please subscribe. And I would absolutely love it if you would leave a review on iTunes. Or if you're listening on some other platform, go there and leave a review. But please do kindly leave a review for the show. It really, really helps spread the word. I really want to share this message, and hopefully you find these podcasts very useful. So I really appreciate your help in sharing the message. So that's it. Until next time, go out there, unleash your greatness, build your empire, make your impact, and live your ultimate life. You are unstoppable.